guys, so nice to meet you today. Thank you so much for everyone who is joining to watch this video. My name is Monika Dulian. I am a healing facilitator at Always the Heart. I am a functional medicine health coach, and I am also a healing facilitator, helping you find the psychosomatic root causes of your problems. So marrying both the physical and non-physical healing together into holistic healing. And today with me is Alison Kate, and Alison will introduce herself and tell you who she is, what she does, and we have a very interesting topic to discuss with you today.
Hi everyone, I'm Alison Kate. I'm a hypnotherapist, healer, and yoga teacher based out of New York City, and I use a wide variety of modalities that I have loved learning about and facilitating over the years that incorporates the body, mind, and spirit for a holistic approach that I find has worked best for me in my own life as well as the clients that I work with.
Nice to meet you, Alison. And today before we jumped on this video, we have been discussing a fantastic topic, and I remember you used the words called bloated world to talk about what is happening in the world and what is it that we need to start addressing for a beautiful holistic healing in this metaphor of bloatedness. Would you like to tell me a little bit more about where this topic arose from, where it's coming from, and what does it really mean in your life to talk about this and discuss it?
Sure, thank you. So I have suffered from gut health issues for many years, and a lot of the clients that I work with and other people in my life suffer from these issues as well. It's becoming more and more prevalent in our world to have gut health issues and bloating and discomfort. And I believe it's a metaphor for what's going on a larger scale in all areas of life, and in the sense of we're always overdoing something, overdoing, overthinking, overeating, overworking, and that creates such a disconnection and separation from our spirit or our energy and the ways that we're tuned into our body to take care of ourselves well. And this disharmony between living a simplified, healthy, holistic, peaceful, and present life and this like rat race, they call it, that we're in.
When you said present and peaceful, and the topic is called the bloated life, what I'm thinking about is how not present we are when we eat and what digestive issues is resulting in. So it starts to tie together the comparison of our life, just living on autopilot, and also bearing the consequences of that. I am wondering...
Yeah. Well, I'll comment on that too, that I know with the concept of like eating and not being present, that I did that for a lot of years thinking, okay, well, while I'm eating, I can get these other things done, or I'll multitask and do this other thing, because why not? It was just, I was so built to multitask and prioritize work and things that seemed like on the to-do list in a sense. And on different trips that I've taken, I'll notice that when the scenery is so beautiful and I actually have appealing visuals around me to notice and be present with while I eat, it's like all of that interest and multitasking falls away. And so in my own home, I really had to create space where there is something visually appealing for me to connect with, so that I can be present while I eat, instead of like, if I just look at the gray building across the street, I probably do want to look at the computer screen instead. So setting the environment is a really powerful first step in even having presence while we eat be appealing.
Instead of making yourself count the bites and how many times you chew, right? Just creating the atmosphere where it naturally starts happening, right? Because it's just so easy to eat and then look at the phone at the same time. I used to do it when I was taking lunch breaks when I was working in a corporate setting. And people do it all the time. They rarely sit together to even talking and being engaged in a conversation. We don't even know what is it that we ate, and all of a sudden you're sitting down after lunch and it's, I need that second hole in my belt. I need to loosen up the pants. And
right, and so often we don't even take the breaks that we need anyway, that the eating time is sort of a naturally built-in break, but it can be so easy to just distract and multitask your way through that. And then at the end of the day, we wind up feeling so depleted and disconnected and like seeking like comfort and pleasure with food or with other things because we haven't gotten those breaks that we so desperately need.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I remember that, pushing the break. Let me put as much work as I can right now, then I'm going to take a break, finish whatever, go home because I have a laundry list of things I have to finish. Yeah,
Yes.
not really taking that time. I am wondering, from your experience and your interest in this entire term, bloated life, what else have you noticed that people are doing without thinking that makes them accumulate more than they can carry in terms of physical and non-physical stuff?
Yeah, I think literally in all of the ways that we are in relationship and life, it can occur. So everything from actual relationships and the ways that we interact with each other to working, shopping, and materialism, and the ways that we choose to numb out, like scrolling with other addictions or addictive substances. We've already mentioned food. And we can go into any one of these topics, or the sort of the flip side of that is the comfort or discomfort for a lot of people with being still or silent in that presence of like, okay, so I have a moment that I don't have to do anything that's right in front of me. So what am I going to pick up, or what am I going to focus my attention on now, instead of, oh, what's going on inside of me, or what do I really need, or can I enjoy this moment of silence? I know, like, for me, when I'm doing the dishes or folding the laundry, I learned a long time ago from Thich Nhat Hanh, like one of the greats and many other Buddhist monks, that's like, those are times where you can turn that into a meditation and be so present. And then the part of my brain that wanted stimulation was like, oh, I can listen to a podcast while I do this, or oh, I can talk on the phone while I do this. And the gold, or the intuitive insights, or even just being present with myself and what's inside of me that day or in that moment, gets missed when I'm not actually doing one thing at a time.
Yeah. For myself, I have been avoiding those still moments in the past because in those still moments, I was noticing how uncomfortable in life I am, how what I am building is not actually a reflection of what I want, and starting to notice that things needed change. And it was a very painful view to do. And also being with myself, it's scary to be with myself. It was really, really scary. So it got into a point in the past where I have been choosing TV shows without subtitles, so I don't have to read, so I can both scroll my phone, be looking at stuff, and also listening to what's going on. And if it's something interesting, maybe I'll pay attention.
Yeah.
So that avoidance of yourself. Why is it so difficult to be close with ourselves and then build a close relationship with what already exists?
Yeah, I mean, I relate to that too. And I think with some of the discomfort that you're mentioning, for me, shows up as like the negative self-talk, or just this like inner criticism and judgment that probably self-consciously, but maybe even somewhat consciously, I thought, well, I can tune that out by just constantly filling my space, my noise space, with other people's words or interviews or thoughts, instead of listening to my own, instead of doing the deeper work to actually shift how I'm being with myself, how I'm talking to myself. And even like the part of me that's judging, then there's a part of me that's being a witness to that judging or that criticizing, that's yelling at that part. So it's like there's so many layers of judgment and criticism that it's really, it's deeply ingrained, and it takes a lot of presence and awareness to even begin to shift that from my perspective and experience.
Yeah.
But well worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you can be still and silent with yourself, without some of that, or with noticing that and then making a pivot, that is like that peaceful presence that I was describing, like that can you be your own best friend kind of thing. That is, I think, the personal growth or spiritual journey that's so important and valuable to me, and it's a long, big process.
Yes, I can totally relate to that feeling of being able to be with yourself when you are uncomfortable. To
Where
me,
where do you see the over whatever the most?
oh my gosh, overachieving. Capricorn here, okay, and a daughter of a perfectionist. So doing, I found value in my life for years by comparing my life to this idea of how it needs to be and having a number of achievements, things that I could list. It was giving me a sense of control. And when things were not going my way, or as I was not achieving what I needed to achieve, I always had this belief that I have to do even more and harder instead of just relaxing. And it felt super scary, almost like I am going to die if I relax. I could not afford to just sit and count sheep in my mind. Unless I was in bed and suffering from insomnia because I was already thinking of what I am going to do the next day. And I really love the metaphor of bloated-ness here that we are keep talking about, because one, it's uncomfortable. But the moment we go to sleep with bloated-ness and a little bit of it goes down, when we wake up in the morning, they're like, oh, wild card, I can do it again. All of a sudden, my body dealt with whatever was going on. The night magically removed it, so I can go ahead and back on a horse and do the same thing over and over again. And it's the same with everything else. Overdoing, I go to sleep, maybe I will catch 5 hours of sleep and relax. Overachievement, right? With each achievement, we get this just momentarily excitement that goes with it, that can feed another start of the project, and then we have to stick to it because it's such a disgrace not to achieve again, right? So we push ourselves again from this place of such disharmony, pushing ourselves, bulldozing through the emotional needs that we have, and at what cost, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that ties back, right. That ties back to where we started with the disconnection. It's like when we're bloated, or we're overdoing, or we're over caffeinating because we only slept for 5 hours and all of that, we're so cut off from the messages and the signals that our body and our intuition, which is literally like the gut feeling, like we talk about, we're so disconnected that it's like this vicious cycle of, then we think we don't know what we need, so we keep trying to scramble to get all these external things, when if we just slowed down and listened, we would realize we probably need the opposite of what we're pushing towards or pushing for. And again, like, it's especially in the holistic world, the remedies or the solutions to this are, they always say it's simple, but it's not easy. And this concept of like, there's no money to be made in teaching people to meditate or to sit and be still and silent. And that, I believe, that is how we heal. Like, our soul or spirit needs to put in yoga practice, one of the practices is to cut off from all the senses. And the purpose of that is to be able to go within and listen more deeply.
Yeah. And since we were going to be talking about more ways this bloated world, this bloated life manifests in different departments, and maybe even a little bit of why we do that and what we can do to remedy that, what awareness can rise, I would love to know from you to show those that are still on this hamster wheel of doing, overdoing, overthinking, overgathering, overbuying, overeating. What is the reward of calming down and becoming still? The tangible thing that Because in the spiritual world, we have this, oh, just peace and calmness. Like, what is actually changing in the life practically when we slow down and find time to be ourselves?
I think really in all the tangible ways that are the opposite of what we talked about, like the over parts that we talked about, but physically your body has time to heal when there's space and stillness and more rest, more nurturing, more care for this physical form. Just like the concept of like what you described as if you're bloated because you ate too much and then you sleep and it seems to be like magic when you woke up that you're like back to normal. The reason that your body went back to normal, or at least that normal for that morning, is because you slept, because you gave it time to rest and to heal. And so physically, people can literally feel so much better when they give themselves that time and space. I think mentally, that's also true, that when you sit with yourself, even if the mind is chattering and you think, okay, the mind's chattering, maybe it'll stop after 5 minutes. Oh, maybe it'll stop after 15 minutes. Whatever your threshold is for how long you think it might take, double it or maybe like quadruple it. But eventually it will slow down because your mind can't chatter on forever. And then when you get to that other side where there's this beautiful practice in hypnotherapy where you're like noticing the space in between your thoughts or the space in between my words or my phrases, and that small little pause, almost like when you're watching clouds in the sky and there's those little breaks, that's where you tend to pick up on, or that's where you learn to pick up on and see and notice the value in that place. And then it becomes a more comfortable place. And sort of, and then like the third aspect of spiritually, for me personally, that's where insight comes in, or that's where I feel a connection to something greater when I do have that stillness and silence. So to me, that's an amazing reward all in itself, that I feel like I'm more connected and being the best version of me in that place.
Yeah. I could feel almost like we started talking about the benefits of slowing down, how your speech slowed down and became almost an embodiment of what is it that you're talking. And it made me feel that another thing that could be considered a reward by some, which is just basically a natural following of what is it that we're doing, is more pleasure. Paying attention to pleasure. Like if I'm going to a massage therapist and they're doing slow and methodical moves instead of this like fast thing, I am enjoying it. When I take a piece of chocolate and I feel it melts into my mouth, there's so much pleasure in it. And even losing yourself on the dance floor in your house when you like to dance in your house to music, and just being there and enjoying and feeling it fully, time seems to flow differently, and this relaxation and embodiment and feeling that you are here on earth without needing to escape, that is also a beautiful feeling that comes with slowing down and paying attention. So I am so looking forward
I love that. Thank you for adding that. And I will add on to that even more, is like along with pleasure is the concept of play. And when you look at little kids, they have to have that moment of like boredom or like the pause to decide what kind of play to engage in next. Like they might be playing one game with their friend, and then when they make a change, there's like a moment of thought or a moment of curiosity or a moment of pause to decide, how can I play next? And so along with that pleasure, it's like, that you don't think to spontaneously have a dance party or slowly enjoy a piece of chocolate unless there's that moment of pause to be like, oh, I can approach this differently. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And from that space, for those of you who are following any teachings of law of attraction or even mindset, you know that you need to be fully embodied and feeling what's going on, and also be in this playful state to get, as Alison said, intuitive insight, so you can go towards the things that are really important and you want in your life.
Joy.
Yes, exactly. So this is a topic that is it couldn't be more important topic to talk about right now. And it all ties to creating the life that you want to have. And we have to talk about the things that are standing in the way and lovingly and kindly be with them. And notice why they are in our life. Because with that noticing and awareness, new avenues and new ways of changing without punishing yourself can arise. So I wanted to thank you on behalf of all the viewers and myself from bringing this topic to the light and being open to talking about this. I am super excited to discussing more details about this. Was curious if there's anything else you would like to add before we wrap for today?
No, I think that ending on pleasure and play and joy is a great place to leave it, and like to what that, for all the viewers and listeners, what you can take with you into this next week or so, that even if you're hesitant to let some of that overness go because it feels you're attached to it, and I was attached to it and I'm still attached to it in some ways, so it's present and it's normal in all of us, but where can you focus on the flip side to find more enjoyment in your life and more joy? And then once you feel that, there's more incentive to move in that direction. So I'm just encourage everyone to play with those concepts.
Exactly. Awesome. Great. So we will continue this conversation again for everybody. My name is Monika Dulian, and this is Alison Kate, and we will be having more conversations about the bloated world and what you can do to start easing into your being. Thank you very much for everyone that joined us. Bye-bye.
Bye.